What's good, y'all? I'm V, and you're watching 80s Babies Tutorials.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make the outer ring of this button. And the outer ring consists of 3, maybe 4 circles. And all it does is really gives the button a little 3D effect with the highlight to it. It's a pretty cool effect. So let's get started. I'm gonna move this over, shrink it down, get it off our artboard, but I'm gonna slide it over here so we can still see the image for reference. So the first thing we wanna do is go to our ellipse tool. And if you don't see the ellipse tool, it's probably gonna be the rectangle tool. You click the rectangle tool and hold, and the ellipse tool is right there in the drop down. Grab the ellipse tool, go to the center of our go to the center of our artboard, hold shift, and start dragging out your circle. But as I'm holding shift, I'm also going to press command and alt to keep my circle dead in the center. And that's control and alt on a PC. Now we got our circle. First thing I want to do is get rid of the stroke. And then I want to change the fill to a gradient. And we can go to that white and black gradient right there. It's a default gradient. Now we don't want to use this default gradient. We want to make our own gradient to a degree. So I'm gonna go make sure my ellipse object is highlighted. Go to this gradient panel over here. And if you don't see the gradient right there, you can always go to Window, scroll down, and you can see gradient. And it also has a shortcut to it as well. So I'm gonna grab this white color, and I want it to be in the middle. So I'm gonna drag it to the middle a little bit. And in order to get it dead center, I'm gonna go to my location right here and go to 50%. And now it's dead in the middle. Now I also want to have a color on the other side. So by the arrow, you can see that there's a plus. That means you can add a color. I'm gonna click right there, drag it all the way to the end, and now I have a white color. But I don't want a white color, I want a grayish, a darkish, kind of dark gray, not too dark. So what I'm gonna do is double click inside of the white color, and my swatch panel will come up. If your swatch panel isn't up, you go over here to color and change it to the swatch panel. I'm going to select this gray right here. Seems like a good gray, and click away. And I also want to change the black to the same gray. There you go. Now we got our base color for the button. This is the very outer ring of the button. Go back to our layers panel. You can see it right there. And now what I want to do is copy this layer. So I'm going to press Command C or Control C, copy it, and then I'm going to press Shift Command V or Shift Control V, and it's going to paste the object that I just copied right in the same spot. Now, in order to not confuse myself in my layers panel, I'm going to lock my bottom layer. After I lock my bottom layer, what I want to do now is make sure I have my top layer selected, go to my selection tool, and I'm going to make this circle a little bit smaller than the original circle. So I'm going to drag in, holding Shift, Command, and Alt. Just going to drag in a little bit, and bam. Now you really can't see the difference right now because the shapes are the exact same color. So what I want to do is rotate this shape just a little bit. You hold shift, you go to the corner over here in your object, hold shift. And if you hold shift, when you drag, it'll change the degrees 45%. So it's a 45-degree angle change. And bam. And now you can see the edge with a little shine. Now what I want to do is, I'm going to do it one more time. The same steps. Control C, Command C to copy. Shift Command V, Shift Control V to paste. I'm gonna go back to my layers and lock the layer that we just did previously. And now I'm gonna make sure my top layer is selected, and I'm gonna make this circle a little bit smaller. Shift, start dragging in. While I'm holding Shift, press Command and Alt, and drag it in just a little bit to give it a little more edge to it. Bam. And now I'm going to do the same step with the rotation. Hold Shift and drag down, and it rotated another 45 degrees. Okay, now that we got those circles, we're going to make another circle, and in this circle is going to be the green section of the button. So we're going to do the same steps. Command C, copy. Command Shift V to paste, or Control Shift V to paste. And holding Shift, we're going to bring it in. Press Command Option to maintain this circumference and bring it in. Now there's no set amount of space that this has to be. This is basically just eyeballing it, and bam. Now this is going to be the green section right here. So let's lock those other layers. So now we want to change our gradient colors. Now as we see in the example, the gradient colors are dark green, white, possibly in a lighter green. So we're going to go to our gradient panel, change it from a linear gradient to a radial gradient. First thing we want to do. Then we want to delete this outer gray right here, which is the inner gray. I know it's kind of confusing, but after playing with it for a while, you'll see what's what. Click that and click the garbage can to delete it. So now we want to change that to the green. Double click that gray right there. Select our eyedropper, and bam, that's the green I want. And instead of this being white, we're gonna make this a lighter green. That's pretty neon. Might look a little bit better than the original. That's fine. We can work with that. And we're gonna spread out the gradient so it's not so dark and heavy on the inside, because we actually want the outer rim to be darker to provide like a fake shadow that's happening. All right, now that we got that, I actually want to make this outer ring a little bit darker, so I'm going to add a darker color green right next to the darkest green that we have. Wow. Click right there, double click the color, and we're going to say we want that to be a darker green. Yeah. And I want the darker green to be on the complete outside, so I'm going to shift positions and slide that over. And that's a nice gradient. Now it looks like the button has depth to it. It actually looks like there's a center that's happening. Uh-oh, I added extra color by accident. Delete that. Okay. Now the next step will be to add the star. Go to our layers panel, lock that green layer, and let's go add a star. Now the star is right where the ellipse tool is. Click the ellipse tool, hold it, and a drop down box will pop up and you have a star tool. Click the star tool. We're gonna put this directly in the middle, find the center, holding shift, we're gonna start dragging out. Then we're gonna press Command or Control, Option or Alt, and drag it all the way out. Now I want it to seem like that it's inside the button, so I'm gonna drag it out a little bit further than the actual green area and release it. Now with me dragging it out further, I'm gonna have to cut off the edges, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But first, we want to change the color of this star. This star seems to be some sort of green. Right now it has the gradient on it. We're gonna change that. and go to our field and play with the greens. Lighter green. That seems to be about right. Let's see what this other green look like. Nah, it's too close to the regular green. So we're gonna go with this lighter green right here. And we also gonna add a stroke to it. The example has a white stroke, so we're gonna go to the white stroke. Increase the size of the stroke a little bit so we can see it. And there you go. Don't worry about the sirens in the background. I'm from a real place in the real world. All right, so now what we're gonna do now is make sure our star is selected and go to Object and Expand. Make sure Fill and Stroke are checked. Press OK. What that's gonna do is make this a single color. Now that we have that expanded, we're gonna unlock the green circle. We're gonna select our star, hold Command, and also select our green circle. With both of these selected, we can now use our Shape Builder tool to get rid of these edges. So I'm gonna go to my Shape Builder tool right here. Zoom in for y'all so y'all can see. And you see the arrow has a plus. Now that will add to the shape of the circle, but I want to delete from the shape of the circle. So I'm gonna hit Option or Alt and just drag across the top right there. And you see it took it right out of there. And I'm gonna do that for all of the sides. Oh, wrong button. Hit Alt, Option, get it out of there. Alt, Option, get it out of there. Alt, Option, get it out of there. I got one more. Alt, Option, get it out of there. Click away, and now the star looks like it's actually under the rim of our circle, which is cool. Now the star looks like it's inside of the circle, and that's how I want it to look because that's what our example says. Now that we got the star, we got the background, next step is to add some effects on it to, just try to make it pop a little bit. So, see you in the next video. Peace.